What are you crying about? Where the fuck is my pen and paper? There we go. Space thoughts. Space thoughts. Today we are prepared. That was a long time ago, but today we are prepared. This is the Edge of Greatness, episode 454. Perhaps podcast episode number 5, 2. If this becomes a good space, that is, then it will be a podcast episode. I'm not gonna waste it. So, pin post up top is the first topic we're gonna go through. But first, feel free to drop a comment in the purple pill down below, smash a retweet on this space so that we can get more people in here. Yeah, I'm really looking for my tribe of resonance. I don't care about the people I don't resonate with. I don't have time to care about them. I'm letting God handle those people. I don't focus in that direction. I focus only on me and how I can find my tribe of resonance. I think everyone should do that wants to achieve something better. Most people don't want to do that, but that's fine. As I said, I don't care about them. I use them as reference sometimes because sometimes some people have to be crushed in order for others to rise. That's how it works. It has to, but not with intention. That's where the sickness lies. That's where the sickness lies. We can see this polarity everywhere. Wag me is fake. Wag me is not real. It is super fake. Wag me is used by the 1% in this space to trick people that don't know better so that they feel better about themselves. The people that don't know better, they feel better about themselves. So they feel cozy inside of a community. This feels good. This is a good community. While they don't know what's happening on the top. The top is always planning for the next harvest. Always. Because it's a game of survival. People don't understand this. You know, Isaac Newton said it himself, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Someone makes a gain, someone makes a loss. Are you going to deny that scientific fact? I thought so. So let's get to it. The one that sacrifices the most will gain the most. The life that you have now has to be sacrificed in order for your next life to show itself. You can't have both. You can't have a cup that is full of. What was that again? Was that the pin post up top? Is that the one I'm talking about now? Yeah, it happened to be, because that's the one I read the latest. That's the consciousness. I mean, the reality you desire costs exactly the reality you currently have. If you want the hyper-focused elite version of your life, you must drag your current comfortable self to the altar and sacrifice it. You cannot pour new gold into a mold that is already full of lead or tin, whatever, any other metal. Gold can't fit there because there is already a metal in there. So if it can't get worse, then what are you waiting for? Jump on the horse. It's just a rep. 100,000 plus reps has to be made. So you better just do them. LOL. But yeah, Isaac Newton said it himself. So why not study science so that we can complete our thinking processes and thus get our shit together? Sometimes that's all you can do too, and sometimes your life doesn't change either, which is fine, but at least you've tried. Sometimes brute action from your side, or lack of it, I would like to say, is not the determining factor of the thing that changes your life. Sometimes it's the market that isn't ready for your actions yet. You know, That's the definition of that's why we talk about preparation. You know, preparing, and then when the right moment occurs, when the cycle comes back, because life is cyclical, right? You're positioned. That's what you're doing. You're not chasing anything. You're positioning and attracting. And then when the cycle comes back again, you might be ready to jump on that train because you've trained before. Ah, and you don't know what that train looks like either. You think you do, but you don't. So here we are hosting spaces, thinking that we will have massive spaces. My journey has taken a completely different turn because that's not my goal. My goal isn't to have a massive space, as you can see. Otherwise, I would have. It's very easy to manipulate people the way you want to. But I'm going to be authentic instead and manipulate that way, which is what everyone is doing. So there's nothing wrong with it. Manipulation exists, therefore we have to accept it. If we don't accept it, we're denying God. Everything that exists is God, whether you like it or not. So, yeah, it's like the intentions and actions, but it's a spirit, so we can deep dive into that too. But don't really wanna do that today. I don't really want to do that today at all. But yeah, let's get some people in here, some real people. Let's go. I'm gonna tag Doc. What's his at? Doc on chain. Straw hat. Stu. Is that the at? Stu. Yeah.
Yeah, Straw Hats too.
Let's get it, brother. Trend in the building. How are you today, G?
Doing good, bro. Just put up, like to the office, and yeah, bro. Had an amazing day. Did my space earlier as well. What about you?
That's awesome. Uh, yeah, been doing things today, slaving, but I'm doing that usually in the beginning of the month so that I don't have to do it as much later on. I'm not doing much really. You know, it's really God doing everything. So I just happen to be here. I do exactly. I listen, and then I just do. Okay, listen. I'm not gonna interject. I'm not gonna interfere what he says. If we're gonna talk about it in that way, it's a feeling, it's an emotion. You know what I mean? So just doing what he says. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Don't hold back. Planning in the meantime, at the same time, obviously. But yeah, this is a very good topic, and I like to talk about it in ways of ideas, really, not physical things, because I don't care about physical
Sorry,
things.
sorry, Edge. What were you saying about, or like, what's the topic, bro? Because like you said a lot of things, bro.
Oh yeah, I know. I am for some reason confused right now. I think it
It's all
is.
good.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just observing. I have my thesis on why, but yeah, I'm not gonna blame anything. I'm gonna make the best out of the situation, like we should do. Shout out to you guys. Appreciate you guys for pulling up. Appreciate you, brother Trend. And happy Winter Wednesday. It is Winter Wednesday today. And yeah, great that it's Winter Wednesday. We have Casket in the building, Digital X, and Doc as well. Shout out to brother Doc for being in the building. Um, yeah, Doc and I chatted a little bit earlier in the chat. I'm not gonna leak anything. I don't say anything that is mentioned in chats usually. But it was a good
And
chat.
Frank also pulled up.
Oh yeah, absolute G. That's the foot collection, right? The feet.
Yeah, the food fetish, bro.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I've seen those. That's cool. That's cool.
It's click behind the account, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. I remember the old PFP, the rat. Was it a rat or was it like? Yeah, it was definitely a rat with beer. or something like that. But yo, yeah. The topic of this space, I mentioned the pin post up top. It's like the reality you desire costs exactly the reality you currently have. Maybe, you know, there's other factors involved too. Now, when I think about it, there's so many variables to be counted in. But if we take the Isaac Newton example, the apple fell on the head. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. You have something, you got to sacrifice it in order to be able to fill that room that you've sacrificed now with something else, the new thing. Uh, because as the post up top says, two, you cannot pour new gold into a mold that is already full of lead or tin or whatever. It's full, so it can't be filled with anything else. So that means that we have to get rid of something first. We have to face the fear first. Has anyone said that before?
Yeah, the word is lead. Like it's dead weight, lots of heavy extra weight that you got to cut out so you could fill it with gold. Can't fill it with gold if it's already full of lead. That's what they say. Like the enemy to education is not the lack of information; it's the false knowledge that's been instilled because people hold on to it and identify with it because when you're given information you take pride in the fact that you have that, and if you don't know if it's true and somebody challenges what you thought was true, you start defending stuff that's not even supposed to be defended.
Yeah.
And because people get comfortable with what they already know, like what's unknown or a challenge to what, like people have as installed beliefs, like they get defensive of it without even, like thinking, hey, maybe, like this is wrong.
Exactly. I've had a bunch of, quick conversations on the timeline today, and it's like, I don't agree. Yeah. Okay. Like, cool. You don't agree. I'm gonna read your comment and like see what I think about it too. Like, yeah, okay, that's confusion. It clicks instantly. You know what I mean? And that's how I define confusion. Not everyone sees it the way I do. But I'm gonna still, drop the reply. And I don't care about the words that is being used. I care about the reaction from the other side. If they react in a way that is like, oh, okay, that takes a while to work on. I don't have time with that. I'm gonna, you know, label that with dissonance and move on. Because let them in fast and kick them out even faster. That's the motto. And I'm never gonna stop doing that. That's from love, by the way, and acceptance, you know, not arrogance. Most people think it's arrogance. That's because they're arrogant themselves and confused. That's the 99%. Everyone has it completely twisted. Yeah. So people hate me, and I love it. I love when people hate me because then I know I am touching them somewhere, and that's all I care about too.
Speaking of touching, it's 4:20. I'm gonna go touch some grass.
No way, bro.
That's what I do when people hate on me. I just touch grass and laugh and go, "Oh, they're so dumb."
Yeah, and you mentioned earlier, like, it feels like you're talking to yourself, and I'm like, yeah, me too. Please, like, we're suffering here. Like, can we just have a conversation and then get back to our suffering? Because that grounds us. That's how I feel. But that's what we're having now. So
Yeah, I agree. I look forward to these conversations. They at least let me know that normal people do exist. I'm actually writing my article now on the importance of like how I write, like I'm calling it empty out to get new thoughts because like every morning, like I empty out all my thoughts, and that's how like where the creative process comes from. Like the more constraints you pick that are good for you, that actually breeds creativity. Like the container itself is what increases the potency of your thought because you have to stay within the constraints of that idea instead of going to explore so wide and diluting what you're talking about, and then nobody knows what you're saying, which I do all the time. But
yeah, that's the thing. That's what a 9 to 5 dilutes. It's an entire canvas life, and a 9 to 5 destroys everything. Slavery destroys things.
I agree because with the 9 to 5, like how many continuous thoughts do you think you can actually entertain in your head? I figure I'm around 3 to 5 good thoughts, and then it gets like filtered through fucking noise and nonsense and shit that everybody's saying and information you hold on to. Like, so there's there's only so much you can do. And then again, to the writing it down part, if it's in your head, it hasn't even become real yet. It's still just potential. Like you have to write down all that shit and then kind of decipher what's on the page that was, oh, that was just leftover. Oh, that was just some dumb shit Steph said that wasn't even relevant, or some shit Dixie showed me that I don't really need to worry about. They're just leftover thoughts. But then you kind of sift through that and figure out which things were in incongruence to the path you're trying to follow. And for me, I write and learn from myself in that way. I'm probably babbling.
No, that's super good. I see Trent's hand is up. I just want to mention this too, like me saying that a 9 to 5 destroys things. That's me going into non-acceptance too, which is not the way. I do go there though, and then I circle back to, okay, I need to accept, but I guess this is my direction maker. That's what I can do. I can choose how to react, and thus I choose the direction with the cards I've been given. But yeah, it's like a reasoning thing, adding context here and there. It's never one answer. Okay, shout out to Trend. What's up, brother? Your co-host, man.
No, I didn't want to interrupt anybody because you were both making some good points. But what I wanted to say, going back to like having haters, I would say like if people don't have haters, then like I don't think they're actually moving in a genuine way. Like like if let's put it this way, like nobody's perfect, like everybody's gonna make a mistake here, you're gonna make a mistake there. If you try to be perfect all the time and liked by everyone, that's fake, right? If you're being fake, then like at the end of the day, it's gonna be a house of cards that the cards that is just gonna crumble. Like we've seen it so many times. We've seen it so many times with a bunch of different people. Like let's take for example, BitBoy Crypto, which was like one of the biggest names in crypto. Like his house of cards crumbled because it was built on lies, right? And he was trying to be all perfect, no mistakes, and this and that. And then eventually, like he fucked over so many people, he screwed up so many people. Whereas suppose I would say like you get haters, you make mistakes. It's like the genuine way to build. Like only it's only human to make mistakes. The most important thing is to move forward and do better, and like just even when like I've seen people that have gotten haters and that puts them down. I would say like the other way around. It should even motivate you even more, because if you're starting to get haters, then it means that probably you're doing something right. Probably you're doing something authentic. Probably you're doing something like in the good direction. The other thing I want to say, because I don't want to be a hypocrite, like we've all been there where at some point of our life, for a brief moment even, maybe like we've been a hater as well. Like um I remember like me growing up, like just being a kid, like in my teens, uh, just randomly seeing shit. Like I don't even know why, but I've caught myself. So, like for example, I would have written like a bad, like some kind of bad comment under some YouTubers freaking comment section, like just bullshitting with them. Then I'll be sitting and thinking, hey, like why did I write that shit? Like the guy is trying to build something, the guy is trying to, like push content, do something for himself. Why am I being a hater? And then I called out myself, hey, like trends, don't do that. But yeah, we've all been a hater at one point, right? So like having that perspective as well. I would say for haters, like it might be a temporary thing, but there's people that are haters for their whole entire life. Like I even know people that are like, let's say 50, 60 years old, that are freaking haters, bro. Like um here in my country, we even have some, like um I would say stigma with some grandmas, bro, that sit around on benches and they're like, "Oh, why is this guy, like dressed up like that? Oh, where did he get this car? He's most probably selling drugs." That's hating 101, bro. Like that's hating your entire life. You see, like a young kid, like putting up, like with a good car. And I've had this happen to myself as well. Like when I was younger, and like I managed to buy a better car, and so there were a bunch of grandmas saying, "Oh, he's most probably selling drugs," um, but like We've all been haters. Like that's what I wanted to say at one point. It's important just to move on from it and call out yourself. Like the best thing to learn, no matter what it is for, is just to be able to call out yourself. Hey, like you're bullshitting for this. Like, and when you bullshit yourself for something, like it becomes a thing where like you're fooling yourself. So it's not good to fool yourself. That's my thoughts.
That's brilliant. You touched on the second topic I wanted to like cycle into now. You'd like started that topic. So that's like a thought I've been having this entire day. And that is, I've been thinking about it very long today. What was that again? It was about everything in society speeding up. Everything in society speeding up. And we're getting to the hating part later too. But it, the entire thought started with everything in society speeding up. So that is something that is very spiritual, astrological. We all can feel that something is happening. Is it that we're getting older, or like did our parents feel this too at this age, or is things actually speeding up? Like we can see that AI is coming in, and I genuinely believe that uh, weed, for example, if you guys have ever heard of that, I think that will be something that helps speed up society too, because if that becomes legal worldwide, things in stores are gonna sell much faster too. So consumption is gonna go like up, and it's gonna become an even more sick place, because then we will have, if everyone is doing weed and these substances substances now because they're legal, then we will have more consumption, more money in circulation, and people will act more on their reactions, which is like lust, greed, and fear. They less control of that. So even more self development will just become even more and more scarce. Like I really think that's the right lane, at least for me. And that's not the main reason I'm doing it, but I can see these connections, and I'm probably delusional, but uh, yeah,
I think you're onto something, but I think weed will have a different effect. I think alcohol had more the effect of people being able to be convinced to buy things and that things are cool. Like potheads lose a lot of motivation and drive, so it's hard to convince them to do things they don't want to do. They're a little easier to be inspired, but they're more likely to inspire each other because they're on that same wavelength. And if that is where the creative mind functions best, like I really think that is going to be beneficial. That being said, I do think you're right about like the consumption of food is definitely going to go up, consumption of nonsense and trash probably, but I think it'll be more genuine to what people want as opposed to what they're programmed to. I think alcohol allows a lot more social programming, whereas that's probably why they were so against weed. It allows free thought. It's you're less likely to be influenced to do something while you're high than you would be while you're drunk. I mean, I can make a drunk fight me. I can not make a pothead get off the couch. I've tried. It doesn't work.
yeah, exactly, bro. And but there is also like a decreased consumption in alcohol, I think. So what happens when they need to have more money in circulation? Is it a legalization gonna happen? I think so.
In America, it's the first year ever that there's more adults that consume marijuana than tobacco and alcohol. So there's definitely shifts. I haven't actually looked into the money trends with like the gun people or anything, but I know that the numbers of users is up higher now than it's ever been. Or at least people who admit it. But nobody ever asked me, so I don't know where they get these numbers from anyway. But
Yeah, exactly. And the laws are. Okay, I really hope you guys see that every single law that exists is fake, because weed is everywhere, but it's illegal. It's everywhere, and all of the other laws too. Like the things are already there, but they're like, no, you can't do this because I'm gonna be God now and create this thing, and this is gonna be hell for you, and you have to you have to abide by our rules, or nothing happens. That's the thing. They shoot at you, but when you realize that everything is fake, nothing can happen. Really. So then you become your own creator, like Neo, when he gets shot at in the movie and he realizes, oh, and all the bullets stop in the air and they just fall down. That's the laws too. Shooting at you. Oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. That's your hall monitor in your brain telling you that. No, I can't do this. Someone is watching me. Um, it's a more healthy way to I mean, someone is watching us. It's God. We can say it that way too, but it's not the system that we're born into. That's not a God I'm talking about. I'm talking about the creator of everything. If everything is even a thing, because this is just words to, I don't know. What's up, Trent?
Two things I wanted to touch on. Recently I've seen a trend where like some motivational speakers and creators are talking about how LARPing is good and LARPing is not bad, but I would say LARPing is bad. Like the thesis behind the people and what they're saying is that they're essentially trying to play it out as fake it till you make it. Like like that LARPing is good, and that like if you LARP yourself long enough, eventually you're gonna be there. And like I strongly disagree with it, but also it's true to a certain extent, but in a different form. And what I mean by that is that like I strongly disagree that you should be LARPing, like that like you do X and X and X, but like convincing yourself is a different thing. Like convincing yourself that you're fully capable of something before you do it, convincing yourself that you're gonna be good at something, that's like not LARPing. That's a different thing. That's why I said like in a different form I agree with it, but like I don't agree with LARPing and with like faking till you make it. Like that's I genuinely believe that that is one of the ways to have like the biggest downfall possible, because like if you constantly fake it and then like um you're gonna be lying to yourself. And I can't remember the book I was reading a couple of years ago about this, but essentially if you're lying to yourself about something, you're not gonna be putting the right action towards it, because your brain is gonna think that you have already achieved it. So I would say lying to yourself that you're doing X and X but you're not actually doing it, I would say that is one of the worst enemies that one can have. And like at the end of the day, the biggest enemy that every person has is himself. Like you always got to convince yourself to get out of bed, you got to convince yourself to be disciplined, you got to convince yourself to do the things that you have to do when you don't feel like doing them, right? And um I said like I agree with it to in a different form, and that form is just convincing yourself that you can. That's the form that I agree with it on. I'm done. Go ahead, guys.
Oh, cool. No, that was a great take, because, you know, uh, would you say that it's LARPing if you sit down and make a strategy and then you tell yourself to execute that strategy and you do it spot on, even though it's cheating with intent, which is a strategy. If you truly look at that sentence pinned up top and study it and go in all the directions of the where the brain goes, cheating with intent is strategy. You can look at it that way too if you want to. But I would say the cheating is where you go against what you told yourself to do. Like most people do that. I think that's the most LARPing you can do. But I love your take, Trend, and I just wanted to add that too.
But yeah, 100%, and that's exactly where I stand. Like you just shared it with your own words. Like that is like the same exact thing.
That's awesome. Because we can do this, I have nothing against putting out on the top. First of all, X is a joke. I mean, you can make a living. You can make a living online. I'm not saying that you can't, but social media, like if it's used right, because consumption is what the majority is doing. And consumption isn't really the problem either. It's like how you consume things. Like, are you learning things or are you just brainlessly consuming things? That's the difference. This is such a deep topic, guys. We can go in any direction, but I think Doc has something important to say too. So let's go there.
No, I like this. I was putting out a post as Trend was saying it, so I thought it was pretty coincidental that LARPing fails long term because it systematically replaces competence with performance, and reality eventually audits the difference. Like a lot of people, if you're LARPing, that means you haven't gone through the making of a plan and figuring out where you're going. You're just role playing the position you want to be in. And then what happens is you have a whole group of people who have base their performance on other people's performance, and then you end up with a whole fucking shithole. You end up with Web3. You end up with exactly what we have right now.
Yeah, hell, in different forms.
Yeah, exactly. But you're 100% right with the oh shit, what did you just say? I lost my point. What you said was the next thing I want to make a point on.
I don't know, but I'm reading a book about this now. And right now in the book, I'm in a place that is called Vanity Fair. And it's all of these businesses that is started everywhere, trying to grab the attention of the traveler, which is hell. And,
I mean, that's the thing, is like you really do have to get attention. And since that behavior seems to produce the best results, that's the thing that people fall into. Because, like, you mean, if the numbers are working, obviously it is right, as wrong as it feels. You can't argue with results.
Exactly. So strategy brings those results. I mean, they could, if execution is done through that too, and if it happens to look, if the numbers happen to be fake now, if you achieve the thing, the journey will be all of these things that you did, but you still achieve the thing. It's a bigger thing. So I wouldn't say faking your numbers on social media is LARPing. I highly don't think that's the case.
Well, that's exactly what it is, though, isn't it? You're role playing the person you wish you were, not the person you are. That is LARPing.
Yeah,
But if as long as you understand that your account is not you, 100% do what the fuck you got to do.
Yeah.
That's the portrait you have to put out there. You're not the pseudonymous entity that you have out there. That's why we use these things.
I love that. As long as you don't identify with the account, because then it's not real. But if you don't identify with it, use it as a tool. Yeah. Perfect. That was the missing puzzle piece. Trent, what's up, bro?
I wanted to give a case study on what Doc was saying about, and it's actually about course sellers for the most part. So a lot of these course sellers for like for crypto, for forex trading, for like DeFi, for e-commerce as well, like 99% of these guys that are selling courses for ecom, for crypto, for forex, they're not actually making money from ecom. They're actually making money from selling the course. And like a lot of people that join their course eventually realize that the person didn't make money from ecom, for example, because they try the same exact thing and it doesn't work out, and they start to realize that they made money from selling the course. And then like what it creates a thing where that guy bought a course from somebody that was a course seller that told him that like the only way to make money is to sell courses. So then like that guy goes on to make his own course, faking his lifestyle, and it just creates a chain effect, right? Like a course seller creates a course seller, and then that course seller creates more course sellers. So it's a chain reaction of LARPing.
Yeah, I need a thinker on that one before I say something. Does anyone else have any thoughts?
I wanted to say to Doc's comment, you mean I'm not really an alien robot traversing the internet? Damn it. No, I really like Trent's point there. It's so true, where it's like you're basically just perpetuating a vicious cycle of people selling something that the other people are going to resell in a different manner.
If you're not an alien scrolling the internet, I don't think I want to meet you at NYC anymore.
All right, I'll come with my costume. We'll be LARPing.
But the thing is, like, I'm just gonna throw this out there. If you want love, learn to give love. If you want attention and appreciation, learn to give attention and appreciation. Like, if you want to learn something, shouldn't you be teaching others? And it's a financial exchange. Like perhaps someone has money and it's a perfect transaction. That's not LARPing. Of course.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line between the behaviors. I mean, one is done disingenuously. You know what I mean? It's almost done to fool others. And just like you said, like cheating cheating yourself is not what you want to do. And if you're LARPing and bypassing information that could have put you actually in the spot you're trying to get into, you're just cheating yourself. Like, you're supposed to cheat the system. You're supposed, like you organize your shit so you do have the advantage. And if you're doing that, then it's not a LARP. It's you're becoming. I don't know. Because you should become what you want to be, not pretend you are what you want to be, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Now we're back to like, who are we again, and what we're controlled by is lust, greed, and fear. We can learn to control it, and it's not an easy task to do, but that's why this is a self-development space, because why would we not learn things? You know, like useless things. Like, why would we want to learn useless things? That must be because you think you know everything.
I think what it is when we were kids, you were called dumb when you got answers wrong. And then being dumb was like a bad thing because you felt like that didn't include you into the pack. And we are like a pack mentality animal. So when feeling dumb makes you feel like it's the outside, you think dumb is the antithesis of fitting in, whereas dumb should be the trigger for I'm learning something new. So I think that's kind of in the indoctrination of the education system, where being wrong is almost looked down on. You don't want to admit you don't know anything because people make fun of you, because kids are cruel, because dumb people are funny. And sometimes being laughed at makes you feel some kind of way. And when people get lost in their feelings, they stop behaving the ways that they know that they should.
Yeah, let's
That's a
go.
very good point. That's a very good point. That is, like if you guys remember a while back, where I think it was on Dark Space, I was saying how asking questions opens doors, and that's, for example, like something that I didn't learn in school. It's something that God bless my grandma. She taught me this. Like ask questions. Ask questions. Asking questions is gonna get you places. Like no matter if it sounds stupid, just ask. Like that's how you're gonna learn. Like I've seen a lot of people just being afraid to ask. Like even I was having this conversation a while back with my wife, and like obviously my wife is younger than me, but I was having this conversation with her because she was like, oh, I'm like frightened. I'm afraid to ask questions because I would sound stupid. No, like it's not gonna make you sound stupid. Like smart people ask questions because they want to know how things work, how this is, like how this is done. And another thing, while still on the topic of what I was told from my grandma, is to take notes as well, because like she said, smart people take notes. Oh no, she said dumb people take notes, smart people remember. That's what she said, like in a hilarious manner. But yeah, like always taking notes, because like your brain is not meant to store information, it's meant to process information, right? And when you get an idea, you're probably gonna forget it. Like it happened to me, like many times, where like for example I forget to like just note it down, and then I forget what the idea was. It might have been like a very good idea, but if you don't note it down, you're gonna forget it most probably. Your brain is not meant for like to be used as storage. Let's put it this way.
Absolutely. Let's paint that picture. So we have the subconscious mind, and we have the left brain half and the right brain half. And when we practice things, the lust, greed, and fear gets trained. Like, you get trained to control those better. So the frameworks you develop, the artistic side, your creative right brain half, store these frameworks to operate this information through, that you get through your senses. You know what I mean? So you use your left brain. The left brain half is so useless, but it does have a function. But that's the only thing that gets developed in school. But then we have to develop the right brain half when we exit school, because the right brain half isn't developed enough. And that's why people say things and they don't do them all the time. I'm gonna buy you a new phone. Where's the phone? 3 months later. You know, where's this relationship gonna go, you think? So, where was we? I had such a good point with this. What were we talking about again?
I wish I could help.
Storage.
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 Yeah, good.
Yeah. So You said storage, yeah, definitely. Like we can store things in our subconscious mind, but the subconscious is the intuitive side. The heart is directly connected to that. You move, you listen to God and you just do the things. Read things that are healthy, it will store subconsciously. It is in your reactions when it's properly learned. The reactions to lust, greed, and fear. And it is that easy. I think we don't know anything as humans, but this is what the science says, or God, I don't know, anything in that, something in that direction. I'm trying to not lose it here. And yeah, so we train these things, but the conscious mind can process approximately 40 bits of data per second. Bits, we have bits in computers too, like the electrical impulses that moves through all the wires. That's like bits and bytes and things. So that's the conscious mind, 40 bits of data per second that can process. So yeah, Trent, we're not supposed to remember everything. We're supposed to read it and then we go over to faith again, because the subconscious mind processes between 10 to 40 million bits of data per second, which is the intuitive and holistic side of ourselves. So which side would you want to use? The one that is dumb or the one that is smart?
I don't want to interrupt you,
Really?
but before you get too far from the storage thing, that to me is the importance of the writing, because now you free up your mind, because we're forcing our brains to store stuff anyway. It's like I don't know, if you were trying to do storage in your RAM, like in theory you could do it because it is a place you can keep information stored, but you're stopping what its actual function is, which is to process the memory faster. So the writing is what gives you the ability to actually move more freely, because that's, like you said, that's the way your brain is actually supposed to be moved, but you've been, again, indoctrinated to use the wrong half of your brain because you're trying to store so much, thinking that the storage of the information is what's giving the value. Whereas why they say wisdom is more important than knowledge. You learn which knowledge to get rid of more than the knowledge that you've acquired. Like, because your brain's not made to have storage.
You use the right brain half, you create and drag things out of yourself, practicing this creation and having the energy even multiply inside of yourself, while school is pushing things inside of you.
Right.
You
Oh,
know, but
well worded. I like that. Yeah, they're pushing information in as opposed to you. Oh, that's brilliant. I love conversations like this. We got to figure out a better way to word that, but this is a brilliant concept we have right here.
no, that's perfect. I can word it even better now because the left brain half is like, okay, that's the compliant slave. That schools are designed for, to create slaves for the factories, you and me. And we're getting out of this. But we got to get out of it in the mind first by understanding these concepts, and then we will know the why, which is the why power, which is much stronger than the willpower. The why power gives birth to the willpower because you want to do it now, because you know why. This is the power of knowledge. When these circuits in the brain is complete and doesn't leak too much, then whatever you learn, you kind of will do and test, because that's the entire manifestation process now being completed, When you see someone like that actually does everything they say, perhaps they say something and they mean something and you interpret it as they're gonna do it, but they mean something else, like this is a very personal thing. Yeah, I don't know. We're talking about things now. We drifted so far away from the topic that was gonna be the topic of discussion, but this has been a great talk. We kind of have 9 minutes left, and I really wanted to, go back to this speeding up of society, because it's really speeding up. Like information is always doubling. Everything is the same. The right brain half, you drag information out. We just talked about that. Just in that example, you're multiplying what you know by dragging it out. Everything's multiplying at all times, even in your brain. Everything is happening in your brain and no one else exists. But will older generations suffer more now when everything speeds up in society and astrologically? Like, will they suffer more because they haven't... Okay, I've written some notes down to that question here. I wrote yes, because they haven't developed spirituality the way younger generations are now forced to do effortlessly. The older generations haven't needed it because of comfort of their years being slower than ours today.
Wait a minute, Edge. Who are you referring to as the older generation? Because my grandparents lived through the Depression. Your grandparents might be my age, so that's fucking.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Right?
some generation that is like stuck in between there somewhere. I feel like has this.
Are you talking about me? Are you talking about Gen X? Are you calling me the older generation? Am I
The
screwed?
thing is, the thing is, the thing is, I've written more here, and it says that people that have developed this spirituality for themselves, I've written here, they will have an amplified experience. I think they will evolve massively. That's what I think. But people that haven't developed this spirituality have to choose to embrace this gift of time speeding up because it is a gift. It's not a liability. It's a gift. And if you choose to see it as a gift, most people will see it as a threat. So even more people will give up. So you have to push through. You
Yeah,
know.
my grandmother is excited about it. She grew up. She was born in 1920, so she was like born in the Depression. Grew up through like World War I, World War II, and that sort of shit. And she's one of the few in that generation I see that see that as exciting. Whereas my aunts, uncles, and parents, I think maybe they'll suffer because they're from the generation where I don't know the Catholics fucking ruined it, and then there was no spirituality. But I mean, like my grandparents are very religious. They're Catholic, which is a little weird to me, but it's Christian at least, so good for them. And I think there is something to that. Like those that did nurture that spiritual relationship are kind of excited about what's going on because it's. I mean, if you believe the Book of Revelations and shit like that, it is almost a time of. It's an awakening time, and you can't deny it. Like everybody's more aware, and I don't know. I've had more deep conversations with people here than I ever would have expected to have with people in the generation before mine. I lost my train of thought. It's all yours, Edge.
No, that's fine. Let's analyze that for a second. Did you actually lose your train of thought? Or was
No,
it
it probably came to an end. That was probably what it was. I probably expected more, but I smoked weed and that stops my ADHD. I almost have an extra attention span, so I want there to be more. Like when I'm in full ADD, I don't want to listen to anything. It stops halfway. When I'm stoned, I want it to have more than what's there.
all these words? They don't mean anything.
No, they're just noise. You asked me a question, I made a noise back at you. That's all I'm doing. You're making noise, I'm making noise.
Yeah, let's go. Well, yeah,
Sometimes the vibe resonates so well, you find something new though.
yeah, that's the thing. But yo, we have Manny Miller on stage. You said something earlier, but wanted to ask, how are you, man?
Yeah, doing well, brother. Just finishing up the day job for the day. It's been a hectic week with that, and have unfortunately work on the weekend for doing a product deployment into a production environment. But yeah, man, been banging away at Prism, making some good progress there. Feel like I'm pretty happy with the additional features that I've got teed up for the streaming and restreaming stuff, and I was able to fully extend the asset classifications into 12 asset classes, which is, yeah, it just took me so much damn time because I wanted to think through like, all right, what is the dynamic relationship between rights and the asset class? So it doesn't just show up as this list of like hundreds of things and you're just like, what the hell am I supposed to do with that? So it actually will like dynamically filter out what information you should populate based on what asset class you select. So yeah, it just took longer than I was hoping for, but ultimately I want to get shit right out of the gate instead of just throwing some bullshit out there.
Yeah, man, completely. Real work, like going through the stuff and taking the patience.
Yes, and it is not one of my strongest suits either. But yeah, man, how you doing, Edge? Good to hear you, and thanks for hosting, and thank you, Doc and Trent, for co-hosting. Shout out to the space.
Doing well, man. Appreciate you asking. And patience is really a mystery. Not really. I mean, yeah, everything is a mystery. But let's take what we pretend that we know as humans. So, patience. Patience. Everything goes against that patience because you have to wait for hell to continue burning until nothing happens. Really, you just gotta wait until things happens by themselves. Which is why we have God. By the way, we surrender. Yeah, that was really the answer to that question. Well, brother, put Casket up on stage as well. We have 3 minutes left. You get to close this space out, man. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I've been listening in the whole time. I gotta say, amazing conversation today, brother. And one that stuck, I don't know why, but it's LARPing. Yeah, fake it till you make it. You can look at it that way. That's what these people are doing. They are geniuses in their own way. Not you guys, but the people watching them and calling them LARPers in the comments, good job. You fell right into their fly trap. That is exactly what they want you to do to boost their algorithm. They're playing the game. And I find LARPers funny because you have some of them, it is obvious. They're making it obvious, again, on purpose, so that they get more attention. Yeah, sure, haters, but I've seen a lot of annoying people become very, very popular by doing the same stuff. It's the same stuff, just a new put of cloth. Yeah, it's just, it looks different now. Shout out to the LARPers, man. I have nothing against them. I think it's funny, in my opinion, bro. Much power to them. If you want to fake having a Lambo, like, and it's easy to do, guys. Like, one of my friends, he took a photo of his car, told AI to make it a Lamborghini, and it looked super real. I was confused myself. I was like, that's your number plate on a Lamborghini. How? AI, it's all fake. LARP if you can, it's easy to do nowadays. Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
man, that's all I wanted to say pretty much. But yeah, great space today, man. Shout out to you.
I appreciate you a lot, brother Casket, and great take. Really good take. I really don't have anything to say to that either. This has been the edge of greatness. You don't have to say things all the time. I have to tell myself. Um, yeah, I like to listen. This has been the edge of greatness, episode 454. This is a hyperflow space, but this is also a podcast. Shout out to all of you guys that is listening to this podcast on either Spotify or YouTube. If you enjoyed this episode, I'm sure there's a like button somewhere there or subscription button. You can press that one to show some support. That's all I'm asking. If this has been of any value to you, appreciate you guys for pulling up to this space we're hosting on X right now. I keep mixing together the podcast and the space, but I gotta keep doing this, and then it will be mastered. Shout out to all of you guys for pulling up today. Wish you guys a fantastic rest of your day or night. And I'll catch you guys next time. Remember, what's the quote for today? Nothing.
Pineapple on pizza is the best.
Sacrilege.